Rabbi Isai, welcome to our shiur before Shavuot. Oh, weeks. Isn't it crazy? We call a holiday after what it preceded it, the weeks. Shavuot means what? The weeks. A side point, this is the only holiday in Shulchan Aruch that has no siman. There's nothing in the Shulchan Aruch about this holiday. Which is crazy. Pardon me. It's wild. Easy. Because this is the one holiday that we stay up all night because of the Shulchan Aruch. What do I mean by that? Rabbi say, the code of Jewish law, otherwise known as the Shulchan Aruch. Wow, you guys are good today. You got this sefer is the sefer of the Am Yisrael. Rabbeinu Yosef Karo, otherwise known as the Bet Yosef. I see you listen to the shiurim. He was chosen, as the Chida writes in Shem Agdolim, to write the Shulchan Aruch. It was a chosen mission. It's like how the Moshe Rabbeinu was chosen to write the Torah. I want to ask you guys a question. What's more important to Am Yisrael? The Torah that Moshe Rabbeinu brought down? The Mishnah that Rabbi Yehuda HaNasi brought down? Or edited, but he was considered the one who put it down? The Gemara that Rav Ashi edited and put together? Or the Shulchan Aruch that Rav Yosef Karo put together? What do you think? No, be honest. Don't think what I'm thinking. What do you think? Torah? Shulchan Aruch. He's saying good. What was the whole point of the Torah? To be a Shulchan Aruch. Forget the fact that we said that Yeridas Hadoros. We went down in generations, so we need a Shulchan Aruch. But Rabbeinu Yosef Karo, he came and he was chosen. The Chida writes, he was chosen to put it together. And that generation, I've said the story before many times, I'm just going to remind you guys. We need reminders, we need hitchaskut. Torah needs hitchaskut. The Chida writes, there were 3 rabbis called Rav Yosef in that generation. The name Yosef has a special sigula for limud halacha. The name Yosef has a special sigula for limud halacha. Halacha specifically. And there were 3 rabbis with the name Yosef in that generation. One of them was Rav Yosef Karo. Another one was Rabbi Yosef Bar Lev, also known as the Mahari Bar Lev. Third one, the Mahari Bal, also. And the third one was Rav Yosef. No, he's Rav Yitzchak. Rav Yosef Taitechak. He was from Saloniki, Greece, until Yimach Shemo V'Zichro, Hitler came and destroyed the Greek Jews. Saloniki was a powerhouse of Jewish people. Powerhouse. Rav Yosef, the Chida writes, there were 3 great rabbis. Rav Yosef Taitech, all 3 of them had Magids. They had Magid. What's a Magid? An angel that comes teaches you Torah. Yeah. Hey, I want one of those. Just give me one of those. Yeah, on the side. Put it on the side. You're wrong. It's not what you think that it is. You think it's like some kind of, you see something with wings coming and teaching you something. It's not what you think it is. A Magid, says the Ariya Kadosh and Shah Ruach HaKodesh, is an angel that's created from your own Torah. If you're Zoche, that means you learn Torah Mamish Lishma, that angel could be converted back and comes back Be'or Choser. That means you put it up, you sent it up. He could come back down and teach you Torah, right? Secrets of the Torah. But there's only one problem with that. Sometimes they could lie to you. Depends on what was your machshava when you were learning Torah. That's why the book Magid Mesharim of the Rav Yosef Karo, it's a whole book. What his Magid taught him. What his angel taught him. For example, in his book, Magid Mesharim, which is a book that I love very much. He tells him, Rav Yosef Karo, he tells him, why did you drink today before I came to teach you Torah? You weren't allowed to drink or eat anything. He said, I was thirsty. It was very hot. It's Israel, it's hot over there. I wanted to drink. He said, you shouldn't have drank. In your level, you weren't allowed to drink anything until you learned. That's what the things the Maggid used to tell him. The Maggid told him, for example, you're going to die in Kiddush Hashem. It didn't happen at the end. That means there was some kind of lie over there. It wasn't Lemaisa. But the point was that all three of Rav Yosefs, they had a Maggid. Why did Rav Yosef Karo have the zechut to write the Shulchan Aruch? And it's really a zechut. For example, me, I was zocheh to learn after I got married in kollel, a halachic kollel. All other kollels it's a waste of time. When you go to a kollel that learns halacha for the sake of learning the Shulchan Aruch, Beit Yosef, and everything, that's a real kollel. It's for a purpose. So I was zocheh to learn in such a kollel, and when we were learning, we always had the question: what was the zchut that the Beit Yosef, Rav Yosef Karo, had to write the Shulchan Aruch? We opened up the Shema Gidolim, and we said over there, out of all three Rav Yosefs, Rav Yosef Karo had the zechut because he was the most humble out of all three of them. Now that's a double-edged sword. What does that mean? It was the most humble. He's the most humble out of all three of them. What does that mean? That all three of them had a lot of ego, and he happened to be the most humble? I'll give you an example. There's a mitzvah in the Torah, Abraham's, that it says over there, you can't do revenge on somebody. Nekama, yafeh. Nekama melashon Cain. Cain, Cain and Abel. Cain killed his brother. He took revenge on him. There's a mitzvah in the Torah, don't take revenge. Hashem could take revenge. El nekamot Hashem, he could take revenge. He's the God of revenge. Right? When somebody dies in Israel, they say, Hashem yinkom damo. But how come, when they say take revenge, you're not allowed to take revenge? But there's a Shulchan Aruch, Halachot Talmud Torah. Halachot Talmud Torah. Open up the Shulchan Aruch. You're already, I think, Siman Reish Mem Bet, don't quote me. In that vicinity, it says there is one person that can take revenge. It's dangerous to say such things. A Talmid Chacham can take revenge. If somebody hurts a Talmid Chacham, he could take revenge. Now, I'm not saying he's going to take an axe and start chopping people, but revenge means, the Gemara Masechet Yoma says, what's Chilul Hashem? What's a Chilul Hashem? So there's a couple of rabbis that say halakha, and I said this to the guys over to you on Shabbat. I'm going to say it again for whoever wasn't here on Shabbat. Rav Yochanan, I think it's Rav Yochanan, don't quote me, he says over there, even me, if I don't walk outside with tefillin, with a tefillin and talit, for me that's a Chilul Hashem. People see me, that I'm supposed to walk around all the time with talit and tefillin, for me it's a Chilul Hashem. And I said to you guys the halakha in the Shulchan Aruch, it says, not in the Shulchan Aruch, but the Gemara says that even if you're right, you did the right thing, but people think what you did was not according to your position, that's called a Chilul Hashem. Now, Chilul Hashem is the worst avera. Why? Even if you have Yisurim, which is suffering, it doesn't fix a Chilul Hashem. Only when a person dies, the pain of death, which the Gemara says, some rabbis, how do they feel death? Like taking a hair from milk. You pick a piece of hair from the milk, that's what they feel death is. It's nothing with a hair from milk. But they said, you want to come back in a Gilgul? I said, no, it's not for me. Just the fear of seeing the Satan, the Yetzer Hara. And what do people do today? Lo aleinu, just today I was hearing a story of somebody. I hate getting personal with people. Why? Once you get inside the Yam Suf, I call it, the Red Sea, The Reed Sea, not the Red Sea. The Reed Sea, you're into the whole thing. Just today I heard of a person, lo aleinu. Guy is married with 4 kids. 4 children. Chas v'shalom, his wife caught him doing shtuyot. She wasn't a friar. Some people are friars. She got up and said, hello, do svidanya. Do svidanya means ask Putin. Putin, he's still alive, by the way. They say he's a doppelganger. No, he's there. So Putin, if you ask him, do svidanya means I'll see you next year. He's right now is crying. Where is my wife? Who's gonna cook for me? Do my laundry? Do my day? What your wife was a Satan? What was she? A person. Ona'ad dvarim. You're living with a person. You're living with them. She does for you. Everything for you. It's nothing about feminism. It's your spouse. She brings you to Olam Haba. There's a machloket in the Gemara. Should you get married then learn Torah, or should you learn Torah then get married? There's a whole machloket in the Gemara for that. What does Rav Yehuda say? Rav Yehuda Bar Yecheskel. He's the Gilul of Rav Daftai. He said, get married then learn Torah. Why? When you get married then learn Torah, when you learn the Gemara, he talks about bi'ah, this, that. You have a clean mind. She brings you to Gan Eden, you go out there do shtuyot. One-way ticket to Gehenom. One-way ticket. Doesn't come back. Why? You can't come back from Gehenom from that. Why? You hurt a person, you have to ask them forgiveness. Let's say he forgives you, but he doesn't mean it. Is that forgiveness? He has to mean it. You have to ask him slicha, you have to mean it. Once you mean it, he's going to forgive you. If you don't mean it, he's not going to forgive you. What did you gain? Nothing. That's why the rabbis say, before you go to sleep at night, there's Kriyat Shema Lamita, right? You say, Ribono shel olam, hareini mochel, v'soleach. I forgive everybody who made anything to me. Who are you lying to? You don't forgive anybody. Don't say it. Skip it. The Chesed la'alafim, Rav Eliezer Papo says, say it. Why? If you're going to keep on saying it, eventually you will forgive. You become a result of what you're doing. You might as well say it. But seriously, if a person hurts somebody, you have to ask him for forgiveness. When a person is younger, he goes through a lot of averot. He hurts people. When a person is in grade school, high school, he hurts people. Many stories of people that they hurt somebody. Famous story, very famous story. Zilberstein brings this down of a guy. He couldn't have kids for many years. Kids is a very important thing. Why? It's the first mitzvah in the Torah. If God put it the number 1, what does that mean? It's the most important thing. What's the second mitzvah? Brit Milah. You understand? That's the most important thing. Be fruitful. The Satan can't have kids. He can't have children. How do we know that? It's a medrash. The medrash says that Hashem made something called a Livyatan. Some kind of mythological fish that's really big. That if it just opens its eyes, it blocks out the sun. The book of Job says that. If it's real or if it's not real, it's not the point. The point is there is some kind of being that's really big, and Hashem killed the female, and he's going to make from the skin a sukkah in the future for the tzaddikim. And he took the male, Livyatan, and he made it a Brit Milah, but Hashem didn't stop at the Orla. He went all the way. He cut everything off. He chopped it up. He made Al Ha'esh.
He went sushi on it.
Yeah, he went sushi on it. Now this Livyatan, that's Holam Mashal. What's the Nimshal? The Samech Mem and his wife, Lamed Yud Taf, Mrs. Lily. When Hashem created them, he saw if he's going to give them the power to reproduce, they're going to overrun this world. So what did he do? He killed Lamed Yud Taf, Mrs. Lily, and he chopped off the Samech Mem's Brit Milah. It's all a mashal. Yeah. So the question is, says Rabbi Yehuda, so how are they living? How are they continuing? Rabbi Yehuda Aftaya says something amazing. We should change the Shovavim Shiur, I think. Rabbi Yehuda Aftaya says every time a Jewish man goes with a Goya, he goes with a Bat El Nechar. And he goes and he watches things he's not supposed to watch, and he spills the cup of milk. Every time he does that, he gives Lamed Yud Taf. Not just life, he impregnates her. And when he does that, all those kids, they're his kids. And they take his parnasa, and they take his bracha, and they take his yeshuot, and they take his hatzlacha. And then he cries, where is my parnasa? I'm such a tzaddik, I pray 3 times a day. It's so chamur that in Yerushalayim they have a halacha that the children can't go after the father's grave, the father's bed, when they bury him. It's so chamur. That means they take it so serious in Yerushalayim. And today too they have this minhag. Many Sephardim keep this minhag. Even Ashkenazim, Hasidim, they keep this minhag. Even b'chutz ha'la'aretz, that the kids are not allowed to go after the father's the levaya. Right? How do we destroy the Leviathan? How do we take out our nitzotzot? By teshuvah. We have to do teshuvah. You know, I sit here every day. I'm sitting here for almost 10 years already. I'm giving shiur after shiur. We have to change. The shiur is not just to eat, drink, and enjoy a little inspiration and laila tov. We have to change. I have to change. Talking about myself, I have to change. Whoever changes with me, you know, ala aini wa ala rasi. But how do we change? Let's go back to Rav Yosef Karo. He was chosen because he had no ga'ava. How do you know if you have no ga'ava? How do you know? If somebody hurts you, you say, beseder, laila tov. You know how you have no ga'ava? The Mefarshim say. Rabbeinu Yonah says this in Shari Tshuva. You know how he knows? He burned the Rambam's books. You know how you know if you have real anava? If you're at least going in the right path? If somebody criticizes you, and you accept it. But if it hurts you, when somebody criticizes you, you're not in the right path. It hurts you. I'm not wrong, you're wrong. If you could hear your mistake and say, listen, I have to change. I'm willing to learn. Rebbe, teach me. It's a different person. But if you can't say that, you're a Baal Ga'ava. To change your mahalech, you can't just learn Zohar or Kabbalah or Etz HaChaim. You have to change yourself first on the outside. Why does Hashem say, don't work on Shabbat? Why? Don't work on Shabbat. Hashem says, hello, if you don't work on Shabbat, you're proving to me that you could put yourself down. That you could admit that there's something above you. But if you can't do that, if you work on Shabbat, what are you basically saying? I made myself and I could do whatever I want. What does your Kaddish matter if you do that? It means nothing. You could say Kaddish from today till tomorrow. What does that matter? You're saying Hashem's name should be great, but then you're working on Shabbat, so what's the point of saying Hashem's name is great? But he's saying, if you don't keep my Torah, then what's your Kaddish? Okay, people in the shul, why do they let these people go up to Aliyah and stuff? It's a halacha. Mipnei darkei shalom. To make peace. We don't want to kick these people out of shul. We want to at least, maybe if they put the foot inside the Beit HaKnesset, maybe they're going to go in all the way. Maybe they're going to go in all the way. But really, the halacha is, you can't even say amen to their bracha. It's a bracha levatala. It's a kaddish levatala. He's saying Yitkadal v'Yitkadash Shmei Rabbah, but he's mechalel Shem Hashem. How are you going to say kaddish to such a person? How are you going to go up in Matan Torah, which is in 4 days? Today's the 45th day of the Omer, which is 6 weeks and how many days? 3 days. If you see what the Ben Ish Chai writes about tonight, wow. Amazing stuff. Before I say that, our shiur is Tzlachat Ariel ben Miriam, and Tzlachat Yisrael Shimonov and his family, and Simcha ben Chasov and his family, Rafah Shlema Reuven ben Shoshana, and also Yud Nishmat. David ben Bella. Where there's another one over here. Shemuel ben Miriam. And Tamar, Rafah Shlema Tamar bat Kisiya. I'm sorry if I got into the moment and I didn't say it in the beginning. The people who are watching is Vinisi. I'm going to tell you guys a chidush tonight. Shavuot, we have to be honest with ourselves. If you're not this year, I'm a watcher. I watch things. I have a cheshbon nefesh. I don't just, the older you get, the more you realize that the days pass 1, 2, 3. Like, before you know it, it's Shabbat already. Where did the whole week go to? You know what I mean? The days pass. The older you get, the more you realize life passes by. And it's a very big, it's a shame that the youth, we were there not long ago, but the youth feel like they're living forever, and they're not gonna live forever. Even in Mashiach's time, they said the Na'ar is gonna die ben mea. They're still, the only thing that's forever is Hashem. No matter how forever you're gonna be, there's still an end. Even Netzach, the sphere of Netzach, has an end compared to Hashem. All of us have an end. Only HaKadosh Baruch Hu doesn't have an end. The Ein Sof Baruch Hu. So I was thinking, I said to myself, we're coming to Matan Torah. This year specifically, war with Ukraine, even that people got used to. Yes or no? We have the coronavirus, we have people don't have baby formula. Baruch Hashem, we're Am Yisrael. Listen, we're protected. Hashem, Yudke Vavke, He's got our back. What if He didn't? Where would we be today? I said to myself, what's the reason? We're in Chodesh Sivan. There's no Tachanun, by the way. Starting tomorrow morning, for 12 days, there's no Tachanun. It's a big thing. Chodesh Sivan, Chodesh HaTe'umim. Te'umim is the Gemini. There's a secret behind the Gemini, by the way. Why Hashem gave the Torah specifically in the month of the Gemini. Remember, in the Kruvim, Hashem, take my words, don't take it literally, but take it in context. Hashem, Kivyachol, took a chance, and He put an image on the Aron HaKodesh. An image He put on the Aron HaKodesh. Could you imagine? A goy is coming to serve God, and he's serving over there. Who knows what he's serving? He comes to the Aron HaKodesh, and what does he see over there? 2 kids. Like the oxymoron of oxymorons. It's like the Pandora of Pandora. It's like, what are you doing putting an image of a boy and a girl in the Kodesh HaKodashim? Doesn't belong there. How HaKadosh Baruch Hu is so makpid on Pirya Verivia. Hashem is so makpid that a person must get married and have children. So makpid. Even the greatest tzaddikim, we say when they're going to get up in Olam Haba, if they don't have children, they're going back to the first body. That body doesn't get up. Because no matter what kind of tzaddik you are, you're never going to experience the tribulations of a person with children. You're never going to have that test in life. Never. There's a rabbi in Yerushalayim. We're going to get back to Shavuot in a second. His name is Rav Gutman Locks. He's very old already. I mention him a lot. Taming the raging mind. He puts on tefillin on people. He used to be a shaman or a guru. He used to be a guru in India. He was a crazy guru. He was used to read people's minds.
Coming back to Earth, that's him.
That's him. When he sees people, I read his stuff every day. He gives me chizuk. When he sees people, there's Jews, they go, what's their connection to Judaism? Birthright. You heard what birthright is? It's their birthright to walk into Eretz Yisrael. Their birthright. So the person says to him, to Rav Gutman, he says, tell them, he's in the kotel, tell them something. 30 seconds. 30 seconds. So he says to himself, what can I tell them in 30 seconds that will change their life? You know what he says? What I say all the time? Marry a Jewish girl. Be connected to Yahudut. Marry a Yehudiyah. It's not pashut. We're 15 million Jews in the world today. If every one of us would have stuck to the Jewish people, we would have been today 10 billion. We are the world. You understand? That's why Hashem is so makbid at Pirya V'Rivya. And what's the last mitzvah in the Torah, by the way? To write it. Hashem says, my Sefer Torah can take a last. It's the last. First fulfill everything, then write my Sefer Torah. Wow. Wow. Write my Torah, that's at the end. Pirya V'Rivya, the Satan doesn't have Pirya V'Rivya, we just said. Hashem cut the Leviathan. He cut him up. He knocked him out. Pirya V'Rivya takes first precedence. To write the Torah, that's last. Write your own Torah is last. Everything is last. Hashem says first, because you can never know me until you learn how to make space for other people in your life. If you don't know how to make space for other people in your life, then you don't know why I created the world. What did we learn in Otros Chaim? First Hashem made Tzimtzum. What's a Tzimtzum? He restricted himself. He made room for us. And then he put the Torah in there. But first he made room for another person. But it's not only us. I'm telling you crazy chidush right now. Before we get... Wow, I don't even know. We have to say one thing from Pirkei Avot. This is the last week of Pirkei Avot. What is the love? The true love? The love of David and Yonatan. Two men. The Satanim, those Levi, they say, wow, David loved Jonathan. Wow, there was something going on over there. I once heard a rabbi, he put them in the spot. He said, you liberals, you're sick. If you believe that the only love could be between a man and a woman, then you don't know what life is. Only love is between men and women, that's it. You can't love a friend. You can't love your parents. You can't love your grandparents. You guys are so into down there that you don't know already what's the meaning of life. He said that to the guy. It was an interview. Shut him up in a second. Why did David love Yonatan? Because he didn't need anything from him. When you love somebody and you don't expect anything in return, that's true love. But if you expect that person to do for you kundar vozi, to wipe you, to give you, and to kiss you, and to hug you, and to give you all the ahava, that's lo ahava. That's ahava, like Rabbi Gutman Lach says. He says, Jewish men, any man in the world, all he thinks about one thing, how pretty she is. And then when he gets married, then she's not so pretty no more. Then she shows him where the pretty comes from. That's what he says. He's right. You don't need to be a chacham to know such a thing. Why the Jewish men, not lo aleinu, but those Jewish men that go after goyot, why do they go after them? There's no responsibility. There's no responsibility. But he doesn't know what the Torah says. Uba'al bat el nechar. The Zohar says whoever's with the goya, he's a chatan la'avodah zara. He is the groom of an avodah zara. A groom. The groom. He's a groom. That means he married into the family of avodah zara. Uba'al bat el nechar. But Rabbi, what should I do? Work on yourself. Fight your Yetzer Hara. What's these days of Sifrat HaOmer if not to fight your Yetzer Hara? To fight the things that you want to see. To fight the things that you want to think. Every morning I say the Gilui Dat of the Ben Ish Chai. You know what he says over there? Hashem, forgive me for the thoughts that I shouldn't have. That's avodah. That's avodah. You think it's easy for me to come 6:30 every morning? It's not easy. It's very hard. But I do it because I know the worth of it. When I wake up in the morning or early, like the Russian Pidgam, the saying, whoever wakes up early is successful. He's successful in life. Why? He starts early, he's successful in life. It's not the Russian Pidgam. Forget about the Russians. Shlomo HaMelech said that. King Solomon. HaChacham Mikol Adam. He says the Rasha sleeps till late. King Solomon in Mishlei says the Rasha sleeps till late. Now I'm going to tell you something that has nothing to do with not sleeping. I'm going to read you a Shara Kavanot Chag Shavuot. He says over here, Da. Da is Russian. But this is Da, not Da. Da. No. Kol mi shelo yashen balayla shel Chag Shavuot. Whoever doesn't sleep that night of Chag Shavuot, afilu rega achat, even one moment, v'yeh oisek b'toireh, and he will learn Torah that night. Muftach lo, it's promised him, sheyashlim shnato, he will live that year. Ve'lo ye'era lo shum nezek, he will not be hurt that year. Kemo shekatav Rabbi Shimon Bar Yochai b'Sefer HaZohar b'Akdama Bereshit, like Rabbi Shimon Bar Yochai wrote in the book of the Zohar. And this is what he says: the Yipu Ka'u Shata Bishlam, he will live that year in peace. Velo od, and this is my favorite part. That part was good. This is my favorite part. Shehora'at Chaye Ha'adam B'Shanai, how a person will live for that year. Good, bad, B'Hatzlacha, B'Bracha, Hora'at Hasha'ah. What's Hora'ah? What's a Hora'ah? Hora'ah means I come to ask you a psak halacha. You tell me I'm a more hora'ah. I've told you what to do. The path that I will walk that year, talui im lo yashen balayla hazeh, if he won't sleep that night of Shavuot. Wow. Shara Kavanot. Not Sefer HaMidrashim, not that Sefer HaMidrashim is anything less, but it's the Ari HaKadosh. ולכן המנהג בכל כלל ישראל, the minhag of all of Am Yisrael, לעסוק בתורה כל ליל חג שבועות, to learn Torah all the night of חג שבועות. אמנם על ידי שעוסקים, and here is the secret, by learning Torah that whole night, ממשיכים ספירת הכתר, שהוא הדקנה דאריך אנפין, Shiza ole acham. By learning Torah that whole night, you're mamshich the keter to all the olamot. And that keter is the secret of the beard, which we have just finished growing. Now I'm going to tell you my chidush that I had in Aravit. They said, when Klal Yisrael was in Midbar Sinai, which is also called Midbar Sin, which is also called Har Choreb. 3 names Midbar Sinai has. Sinai, Sin, Choreb. When they were there, it says, Hashem took the mountain and he picked them up and he said, guys, if you don't take it, today, now, Achshav, in Russian, how you say now? Sichas is gonna be your death. Whoa, what a business deal. But the mountain had to be pretty big. It had to be 12 kilometers. 12 kilometers is pretty big. Yeah. The whole Am Yisrael's camp is 12 mil. 1 mil is approximately 1 kilometer. So the mountain had to be 12 kilometers wide to pick them up and to put it on top of all of them. So Hashem would say, if you're not going to take it, Laila Tov. There's a mountain like this in Saudi Arabia that has this kind of width. That's a shiur for a different time. Why did Hashem have to put the mountain on top of it? And Kabuta B, it's not so it's not so good to like force them to take the Torah. So the Midrash says no. Torah shebichtav, the written Torah, they took. What was the rate to take? Moshe Rabbeinu got it until Parashat Mishpatim. There was nothing there to take. This whole story's over there. But Torah Shebaal Peh, you had to force them. So there's the famous pshat. Oh, because if they would have taken it with their will, that means if they would have cheated on Hashem, Hashem has to divorce them. Because Hashem forced them to marry him, it's by force. So therefore, if they cheated on him, it's not considered cheating because there wasn't really a marriage. You guys like that pshat?
Even us Kamsukut.
It's Kamsukut because we were forced to marry Hashem. It wasn't a real marriage.
That's one of the
There was no free. Hashem did it on purpose. So therefore, if they would cheat on Hashem, which they did, it wasn't considered that Hashem will throw them out.
That's the reason why Moshe blood does it.
Right, but here is my chiluk. You see, we have 10 sfirot. Keter, Chokhmah, Binah, Chesed, Gevurah, Tiferet, Netzach, Hod, Yesod, and our favorite, Malchut. And I always say we have to separate the Gar from the Vak. Our avodah is always from Chesed until Malchut. These 7 weeks of the Omer, each week fixes one sfira. First week, we fix the Chesed. Second, Gevurah. Right now, we're in Malchut. Basically, we're in the 7th week. But the Ari HaKadosh says, how do we fix those 7 weeks? How do you fix them? What's the kavanah? The Chesed, you have to take the Keter Chokhmah Binah and bring it into the Chesed. Second week, you take the Keter Chokhmah Binah, you bring it into the Gevurah. Third week, you take in short, we call it Gar. What's Gar? Gimel Rishonot. Keter Chokhmah Binah is 3. Gimel Rishonot. You take the Gimel Rishonot. Every week, you're taking that partsuf, that sfira, and you're bringing it up. You're making it mature. But the problem is that really the Ari says during these 7 weeks you don't bring all 3 into every partsuf, into every sfira. Why? You can't. You don't have the power. To bring the last sfira, which is the keter, you have to fix your karet. Karet is the same letters as Keter. How do you fix the Keter, which is Karet? By staying up all night. If you don't stay up all night, you can't fix the Keter. Why is Keter the staying up all night? Why is that? Why? What if I want to give myself lashes? There is something like that. I take the Yom Kippur. Don't we do that? Let's fast. Let's fast on Shavuot. Why Keter is specifically staying up? The pasuk says in Shir Lema'alot, Hine, behold, lo yanum velo yishan Shomer Israel. Behold, the watcher of Israel does not sleep. What does that mean? Hashem is the watcher, and he does not sleep. When a person doesn't sleep, he's connected to the highest sphera in which Hashem reveals himself, which is Keter. The sphere of Keter never sleeps. When Hashem reveals himself in Keter, he never sleeps. That's why the three meals we have on Shabbat, which one is corresponding Keter? Which one? Seudah Shlishi. And what do you have to eat on Seudah Shlishi? Fish. And fish have no eyelids. They never sleep. When you eat fish, you're connecting to Keter. I used to eat sardines for dinner. Keter is the fish. Nunei Yama, Gabriel. Start eating fish. When you do that, you're connecting to the Keter. Why do we eat dairy on Shavuot? Chalav, milk, in Hebrew is lavan. Our bobosh. Rachel Imeinu's papa was lavan. But his klipa was corresponding the loven ha'elyon. What's the loven ha'elyon? The upper white. What is that? Keter. The sphera of Keter in colors. In colors is what color? White. Lavan. What color is the lowest sphera? Black. Shachor. Now what's interesting? Shachor is also shachar. Morning. What's waking up in the morning? The light. The white. To turn the black into white, you have to daven shacharit early in the morning. That's why the Hasidim Arishonim, they used to daven vasikin. To wake up the Loven Ha'elyon, to wake up the biggest chesed of Hashem. That's why we eat dairy on Shavuot. Don't look at the whole medrash with Avraham Avinu. He gave the mustard with the meat and the dairy. That's all a mashal. Avraham is chesed. Chesed is the loven. It's the white. It's the chesed. It's the keter. To wake up the... Now that's why, what do we read specifically for Tikkun Leil Shavuot? Chumash. What's Chumash? It's the Loven Ha'elyon. It's what Hashem gave us directly. To awaken, people want to read Mishnah, Gemara, they want to learn. No, says the Ari. Learn Mishnah, Gemara the next night. On the night of Shavuot, you have to do Tikkun Leil Shavuot. That Tikkun awake, even if you don't understand what you're doing, it's awakening the Loven Ha'elyon. It's awakening the Keter. And if you awaken a Keter, there is no Din. If there is no Din, you live the whole year. And that's why the Ari says whoever stays up all night, he makes a tikkun that he'll have the mishpat that he will live the whole year. Baruch Adonai le'olam. Amen. Amen.